we never found out if Alex chose to keep her powers.
She kept those powers.
She kept those. Of course she kept those powers.
Those
We all know how
powers.
cool. I mean, like, if I could do this and do all the things that she could do, I would have kept those powers forever. This week, we're meeting up with the star of The Secret World of Alex Mack on Throwback with Nickelodeon. I'm your host, Anthony Padilla, and for my guest, it all started when she was hit by a truck covered in chemical GC-161 and turned into goo. Larissa Olenek, you ready to throw back?
Should I warm up?
You should, yeah, do some stretches, because I want to be expecting you to like turn into goo and everything. Honestly, I am so excited for this because Alex Mack was a huge part of my childhood.
When you were a zygote?
When I was 8 years old. When I was 8 years old, I was so enthralled by the special effects of the metallic goo.
I don't think they've aged well.
They did not.
We were ahead of our time, and now, you know.
Yeah, that was like cutting edge technology.
No, it was. Our whole special effects team was awesome. And they actually like helped me with science projects and stuff. No joke.
Dope! So you started performing when you were really young, right?
I was 8 when I started.
Yeah, how did that all start?
It's one of those flukes that you're like, well, I guess this is my life.
Yeah.
I had always been singing, and I was musical, and my dad and I played piano together, and there was an audition for Les Miserables in San Francisco, near where I grew up, and I really just wanted to take the day off of school.
That was an excuse to take the day off?
Yeah, it was a huge part of it. It was a huge part of it. I was like, Mom, I deserve this.
Yeah. Did you think that you're actually going to get the gig?
No. I just thought, like, well, this will be interesting. And of course, we showed up, and there's all of these kids, like more kids than we could have even imagined. And they're asking for headshots and resumes, and my mom's like pulling a photo of me as a flower girl, like out of her wallet.
Something that she
like,
already had.
Yeah, we went to FedEx or something, or Staples or Kinko's, whatever it used to be.
Yeah.
And like printed up. She was like, third dwarf in Snow White, like just coming up with whatever.
Like she wrote your resume on the spot.
Yeah. But that was luckily kind of one of those gigs where they didn't want kids who were coming in polished.
Oh, right.
They wanted kids who looked and acted real and sang in a real way and didn't have polished voices either.
Yeah,
so
that raw performance.
I got, super raw.
Raw is a way to say not polished.
Not experienced.
Yeah.
Totally green.
But that's what they wanted, right?
Yeah, that's what they wanted. And so I did that for about a year and then started working more and more.
Do you remember what the audition process was like for Alex Mack specifically?
I wish I remembered more.
Oh, really?
I would come to LA for like February, March for pilot season, and then August for pilot season. And I'd been doing that for a minute. The thing that I do remember, and this is a really interesting little tidbit, the summer before I booked the job, I remember saying to my mom, like, you know, we've been doing this for a couple years now. Like, if I don't book something, let's just like call it.
You were going to call it, yeah.
Because I think it was the summer in between my 6th and 7th grade. And so 7th grade is when you go into junior high. And I was like, if this isn't working out for me, I'm just going to go do that other thing and just
right. And like live
just
life
say,
as
like,
a kid.
Yeah. So there was that combined with the fact that in my 6th grade yearbook, I did say that my goal was to star or co-star on a hit TV show. And
so you knew you wanted it.
I did, but I was also trying to be a realist.
Yeah.
So I do remember not feeling that kind of pressure, but then when it did happen, being like, oh, I guess I'm supposed to stick around.
Yeah.
I guess I'm supposed to stick around and do this thing. I don't really remember being nervous. I think when I got the job, I was really just kind of like, huh.
You're like,
okay.
Oh, you actually get jobs from auditions?
No, but I mean, I in no way, shape or form thought that I was like the best fit, which now, you know, we don't really, that's always fluid.
I read that there were 400 other people that auditioned for that role. That's pretty crazy. That's
eeny, meeny, miny, moe.
Do you really feel, I mean, you must have shown something that really stood out.
I mean, maybe it's the same thing as that first audition, and I honestly think, like, still going into auditions, like, that is my biggest strength.
Yeah.
That I'm like, listen, you'll believe me that I'm a real person.
Yeah.
So I think that was a huge part of it, is that, like, I just kind of didn't have the pizzazz that maybe some of the other people did. It really fit for the character, you know?
You had your own special sense of pizzazz.
Sure.
Do you remember the moment when you were told that you landed the role?
Nope. No, I don't. Well, also because it's like, I think I'm saying I was so normal, but also I'd been through it so many times at that point. I was like, well, it's just a pilot. We'll even see if it gets picked up.
Right. You were a realist from such a young age.
It wasn't until I really started being like, oh, I'm on Nickelodeon, but that took seeing like Snick ads and like meeting Melissa, who played Clarissa, like, going to Nickelodeon events, meeting the other kids. That took all of that before I was really just like, oh, this is real. This is real.
In the pilot, when Alex morphed and then morphed back into herself, her clothes could not morph with her.
No.
And of course, for
That got
logistical
changed.
reasons, that changed.
Yeah, I was mortified.
At the idea of it remaining that way?
No, when we were shooting it,
The
because
free
I was
pilot.
12 and like I was in a towel and I was just like, this is. I think that was. I remember that day on set because I still insisted. I don't know how much we talk about here, but I still insisted on like wearing my bra underneath the towel. But so then there were just like these weird
like straps just hanging off the sides.
so I couldn't move my arms.
Yeah.
You know, it's a weird old age.
Yeah,
12, 13,
I feel
11,
like those are the
maybe
most
even 11.
awkward.
It's
Like
a
you're
weird
coming into
old
your
age.
body and you're trying to figure yourself out.
I mean,
and then they're like, go up there, topless behind the thing.
Well, yeah, go be in a towel. It's like, oh, I hated every second of that. So I don't know if it was my reaction or just the reaction from people who were watching to be like, maybe we should make it a thing where like her clothes go with her.
I was gonna ask if that was part of. Were you part of that discussion at all?
No, but maybe how uncomfortable I was.
It probably made sense. I mean, I feel like it made sense just in general. You couldn't have her changing back into a human behind objects every
all the time.
episode.
Yeah, no, that's true. It would be a logistical nightmare.
It would have been horrible. So Alex Mack's fashion choices were iconic.
Yeah.
Iconic. I feel like they defined a generation. You were labeled as a teen icon.
Okay.
I mean, Wikipedia doesn't lie, right?
I can take very little credit for that. We had an amazing costume designer, and she basically came up with that all on her own. She was just like, you know what, let's take this in a direction. And they were behind it. Tommy likes to tell the story. Tommy is the creator of the show. He likes to tell the story that Alex was originally supposed to be a boy and that someone changed it to be. And so I think that was kind of the idea of why she was a little more tomboyish, but that was all Laura. And I mean, also the era too that we were in.
The grunge era.
Yeah, and I still it's like my favorite. It's absolutely my favorite.
It's one of my favorite eras of clothing
I have so many of the clothes still.
You have them?
I have like so many of the hats. I wear them all the time. I have a lot of the striped shirts. Like I have the original flannel that was in the pilot episode. I wear it.
Yes.
I don't know what it is. I joke that I'm like in cosplay of myself all the time, but I don't know whether that was my style and then it became the character style, or whether it was the character style and I just like kind of never really let it go.
Yeah, you don't know which one influenced which.
It's a weird part of me. Like
yeah. Did it also influence you at like when you were that age playing Alex Mack? Did you wear any of those clothes?
The thing is, when I was that age playing Alex Mack, I wanted to be dressed up like the hot girl. I wanted to dress up. I don't know if you know that it was Jessica Alba in our first season.
Yeah.
And Jessica was like cool.
That was like
she was cool and beautiful, and she was in 17 magazine, and I wanted to dress like her. And then we had another actress by the name of Hillary who was also lovely and also very cool.
Yeah.
And so whatever the bad girl, like pretty girl on the show, like I was always just like.
You're like, why do I have to be the tomboy?
Yeah, just give me a sunflower dress and a choker. Like, it was all I wanted at that time.
Yeah.
And then I guess I kind of, like, had the experience of, like, the girl wearing dresses when I did 10 Things I Hate About You. And I was like, I'm done with this. Let's go.
You felt more comfortable, Alex Mack.
Then I was like, just give me a pair of plaid pants and a striped sweater. Let's call it a power clash and let's call it a day.
And now it's come full circle, and now you dress like Alex Mack 65% of the time.
Yeah, 65% of the time.
We actually have a photo of you dressed as Alex Mack. Look at that style.
Yeah, look at that.
We got the beanie, we got the flannel. Are those cut off jeans?
They sure are. They sure are. I remember this backpack very distinctly, also back in style. I'm sure you could find that at the mall today. Yeah, that is a point in time. I still have a pair of Converse from the show. I have a pair of One Stars.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm wearing them in this photo, but...
We'll assume you are. Can you still fit into those?
Yeah.
And you wear them?
Yeah.
That's so cool. How many years old is that at this point?
25.
25 years old.
25-year-old.
What do fans say when they recognize you? Is there like a single thing that they mention most frequently, or?
You were my first crush.
I
get all the time.
Yeah.
Which I think is very sweet. People's nostalgia for the show has changed a lot in the last couple years and has shifted in a way that I really enjoy because I feel like I'm actually having an experience with someone, as opposed to someone just being like, Alex Mack, and I'm like, yep, that's me.
Right. So like you
But
were
I
a
feel
spectacle, now it's a.
Well, but I feel like when
moment.
people approach me now, it's really to share something about like the show was important to me. I felt seen. I felt understood. I felt like I wasn't the only one who felt different. I love engaging in that with people because I'm just like, me too.
Right,
Like that's what
right.
I was going through too, and that's probably why it resonated.
Oh yeah.
Because I wasn't outside of myself playing the character. Like that was really me. I find the nostalgia that people have for this particular time of Nickelodeon and also for the show to be very, very sweet. And like I also hear a lot of people wanting these kinds of shows for their kids and wanting to introduce them to that kind of entertainment, or people watching the show again with their kids, which, you know, I don't know how that lives up for them, but
it holds up. Those special effects, flawless.
But I think it's really flattering. I think we can all feel like, job well done.
Yeah, I feel like that show really resonated for many people that like you said, felt like outsiders.
Yeah.
Or, you know, for me, I was really interested in science, and I don't think it was considered very cool to be into science and stuff like that. And at least not in my school. I'm like, I'm a cool guy now. I like science like Alex Mack.
Maybe I can come up with my own antidote.
I really did try to control things with my mind because Alex Mack
too.
did it, and she made it look so easy.
Yeah.
You made it look so easy.
I know.
It was a lot of this.
I know. Yeah, we dialed that back as the seasons went on.
Well,
I
season
think at
one was
first
specifically
it was
a lot
really,
of
it was a little
this.
intense because they were like, come up with something, and I was like, okay.
You're like, yeah. How do you control something in your mind? You go like that. Yeah.
Yeah. Squint.
Squints.
Yeah.
Did any fans of the show, specifically young fans who didn't understand that those were actually special effects, did you ever run into any of those people asking you to like morph in front of them?
Yeah. And I have the stock answer.
What
which
is it?
Just like,
what's the stock answer?
Just like, you know, I can't do that in public.
I love that.
That's what I would do. That's what I would do for them.
Yeah.
Just be like, well, yeah. I mean, obviously, like I have those powers, but I can't do it. Not at the airport.
Yeah. I bet they're like, wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, so we're gonna do a little word association with names.
Okay.
Yeah. So we're gonna start off with Thomas W. Lynch.
He's. I love Tommy. He's one of the most animated people I know. We talk on the phone. We see each other. He's a great guy, but he is the creator of Alex Mack.
Yeah.
It is his vision.
Darius Love.
Yes, Darius Deontay Love. That's the full name.
The full name
We
sounds
always
good.
joke, like, Darius is like, he's a real leader. And I feel like the character of Ray kind of took that on as the seasons went by, that he really found his voice more, and he's like an organizer, he's a leader, he gets people together, he should be running for mayor.
Why not?
He really is. He's a leader. That's like the #1 word that I think of.
Meredith Bishop.
Sister. That's my sissy for life.
Aww.
Yeah, she's also an only child, so we really
You really bonded then.
totally. And I mean, I've always wanted a big sister.
Yeah.
And same thing, I think the writers and the creators really took note of how our relationship developed over the years, and I think Alex and Annie got a lot closer and found a lot more common ground.
The writing would change?
Yeah, we started off very much as opposites, and like that was part of the humor of it.
Yeah.
But then she and I became so close that was also, I feel like, a part of our characters' journeys.
Jason Strickland.
Oh yeah, Jason, the hot guy.
The hot guy, the junior high crush.
Yeah, you know, the quintessential guy that you can't have.
Right, the unattainable
crush.
popular crush.
The unattainable crush.
Yeah, Natanya Ross.
Oh. I'm like, that's another sister.
Yeah.
She just has the biggest heart. The sweetest person. She also is a gatherer of people.
And now the final name for you is Alex Mack.
Oh. I mean, it's just me.
Yeah.
What an interesting experience to have a part of your life so well documented.
Right.
I'm like getting emotional.
Yeah.
But it was such a positive experience for me, and I had such a wonderful time, and I grew so much. I mean, it was like 12 to 16.
Right. Those are some of the most important years of your life.
Yeah. It's a healthy thing in all of our lives, even if we don't have that particular experience, but to see sort of those formative years and to appreciate and to just like kind of keep it sacred and be grateful for how it's shaped who you are, you know? That experience has completely shaped who I am.
What do you think is the biggest way that it's shaped you?
I think it's made me a more accepting person. I think since that's so much of what the show is about, it makes me a more connected person. It makes me want to know what someone else's story is that I might not get from the surface. Ooh, that was a good sound.
That was good. That was good. That's going to the top.
I mean, I meant it though. I meant it. But that came
good.
together nicely.
Yeah, that was good. Obviously, Alex Mack influenced you in your day-to-day life at that time. Do you feel like a lot of you was coming out through Alex Mack as well?
Absolutely. I mean, I was growing up. I was learning how to use my voice, learning that the things that make me unique are positive attributes and not negative attributes. I felt very heard and very seen and very understood by all of the creative powers that be and by like bosses, you know?
Yeah.
And that, you know, I now understand is not always the part of your experience when
guaranteed.
you are a young person in this business and especially a young woman in this business. And to have that tiny bit of empowerment, that's where that seed was sort of planted, was through this experience, and it's just continued to grow for me.
Yeah. That's not a guaranteed experience.
No.
Yeah.
And I'm really grateful for it.
What brought you the most joy about working on the show?
I really think the people.
Yeah.
I really think the people that I got to see every day. I mean, we did 4 seasons, and our crew was pretty much the same throughout that entire time. It would feel like the first day of school for me, or like the first day back at camp, to be like, I'm so excited to see so-and-so, and I'm so excited to see so-and-so.
When you would come back between
seasons?
seasons?
When I would come back between seasons, I would be so excited to see all my friends. I was very close with our whole hair and makeup wardrobe department. Like, they were all my big sisters. One of our writer's daughters and I became super, super close, and we would have slumber parties all the time and go to concerts, and Natanya and I would have slumber parties a lot. Meredith, who played my sister, and I were really close. Darius and I would rollerblade together. All of us, like, had our own...
So 90s.
No, truly. Like, we were like a little... I feel like you have to do that when you're working all day. I mean, I think to get your day, to get kids to like work well in that environment, you need to have a period of. That's why people have PE. You need to have a period. You need to have a period of the day
just let
where
loose,
it's
let
like
the
okay,
energy
like
out.
be safe. Wear your wrist guards.
Right.
But like go get it out of your system.
Yeah.
And so we had a lot of that. We had a lot of like running around and playing. And I feel like everyone who was involved in as far as Nickelodeon goes, and everyone who was like all of our producers, I feel like everyone understood that it's like, let's keep this active,
energy fun.
Yeah, let's keep it active and fun, and like make sure that the kids get to be kids.
Yeah. It seems almost like you had a family or like a close-knit group of friends.
100%. That was my favorite part for sure. And then that was always the hardest part of leaving.
Yeah.
And by ending each season, that's why there were so many tears and just like, 3 months is so long or whatever it is.
All right, Larissa, one final question.
Oh boy.
So Alex Mack ended on a cliffhanger, and we never found out if Alex chose to keep her powers.
Right.
So if the show were to continue, Alex Mack 2.0, and you were able to decide what happened next, where do you think you'd want it to go?
She kept those powers.
She kept those. Of course she kept those powers. We all know how cool. I mean, like, if I could do this and do all the things that she could do, I would have kept those powers forever.
Well, because I think it's the whole, you know, if we're talking like about the whole symbolism and all the allegory about the show, that really the powers were there as, you know, a cool thing, but also as sort of an external way to show how we're all feeling internally, that we're all feeling like freaked out at that time in our lives. I think she comes to accept them. I think she comes to accept them as a part of her and wouldn't want to give them up.
Almost like what makes her different, makes her unique in a positive way.
Absolutely.
She was almost a superhero. She was a superhero.
Absolutely. So Tommy and I talk about it all the time.
Wait, what do you talk about specifically?
No, just like about like where we think the characters would be and what like what
I love that.
How we would do it. Sometimes we disagree about it, but it's something we talk about. So
I love that that's part of your casual conversation.
Yeah.
That would totally be mine too.
Well, yeah.
Thank you so much, Larissa.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. And thank you all so much for watching. We'll see you next time. What are some of the most outlandish special effects on the show that you were a part of?
I gotta tell you, a lot of that stuff, like especially in that photo that we're looking at, it was fishing wire. Some of it was real low tax. There was always like a fishing wire situation where you're like, sorry.
Were the people controlling these fishing wire things?
Yeah, it was theater.
Yeah.